Okay, I think a lot of you are having trouble with this decision of whether or not to have kids because you're looking for the path forward that feels exclusively good. And the thing is no matter what you choose, there are going to be challenges associated with that. There are going to be aspects of either motherhood or child-free living that you don't like, that you're put off by, that are frustrating, that are hard. And it's often hard for us to say yes to something if we already can see what all the challenges are going to be. But that's life. It's like deciding to move overseas or start a business or decide to run a marathon. Like, we know there's going to be challenge and upheaval associated with that, but we decide to do it in spite of it. So rather than me giving you all the answers, let me ask you this. What has allowed you to commit to things that you know will be hard? Like, what has inspired you to do something in spite of the fact that you know it's going to have challenges, that it's going to have shitty aspects that you don't like? Let me know in the chat. Sometimes it can be helpful when we're thinking about this kids or child-free choice to look to other aspects of our life. There may be some clues there in how you can navigate your way forward and pick a path despite the fact you know it's not going to be perfect. It'll be far from it. Doesn't mean it won't be worthwhile or beautiful. But remember, no matter what you say yes to, you're not just saying yes to all the good. You're saying yes to the bad as well. You know that. That's why you're stuck. But it's something you're going to have to get over in order to make a decision.
Hey, what's up? This is Sage, and I'm going to do a brief video on another topic that I'm very passionate about, and that is having children or not having children. And I've pondered on this for a long time, and I'll give you my brief story on the having children or not decision. In my early years, because I was more religious back then, and before I deconstructed the obligation biblically to have children, and if you don't have children, you have to dedicate your life serving God, like Paul in one of his letters, where he said that it's better to be alone and serve God. So there were only two options, and that was to get married, have kids, or serve God, which what I was doing was street preaching and also serving in the church, Christian things that you have to do. And Christianity was what I was a part of. I was a part of the charismatic movement and the liberation, and then uh, the Southern Baptist strand of Christianity. So, and I wasn't a cultural Christian. I was a Bible believing, Christ centered, Bible believing person. After I deconstructed, about when I turned around 30, I was like, see the hardships and the challenges with that. And it was it started to become very, very, very unappealing. And I'm glad I had time to really think about it. I think that it's a burden financially to raise kids, and it takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of dedication. That I found out that I can't handle that type of capacity, because I would want to be the best parent I would like to be, and that would mean that I would have to do a lot. I'm not that kind of person that would be a bum. Put it that way. I will take care of my kids to the best of my ability. And I don't want to add that complexity to my life. I compare not having kids to having children. And what I gave myself permission to do is to certain responsibilities that I think not only can handle, but also just responsibilities that I want and challenges that I want in my life, and the level and able to choose the level of complexity to be introduced into my life. And that includes certain relationships and certain jobs and in choosing where to live as well. That's how I decided to be child free. And being child free, I was able to really sharpen my reasons for why. There's even better reasons, I think. And I'm not going to shame anybody for having kids. If they want to do that, they can go ahead and do it. But my reasoning is this is just my view. This is after deconstruction from the faith beliefs, is that having a child introduces a guarantee of suffering, pain, disappointment, also exposure to expectations, societal expectations. There's also the expected diseases, illnesses, and the breakdown of the body from organ to organ, from bone to bone, and decline in health as you age. So you're exposing them to this cycle. You become, and most people are workers. They're not entrepreneurs. They're not um, wealthy. So you got that in that equation as well. Is that my children will most likely, more than likely, be just another worker for our society and political system. And I'm not willing to put them in that type of position. People, when they have kids, they don't think about all these aspects, all the challenges that their children will face. Now, some do, but they're willing to take that risk. But I think if you're willing to take that risk, please be very thoughtful in your reasoning and be prepared. Be prepared to raise them in a way where there's less suffering and, the natural aspect of life, you can't control that. But at least have them in a really, really good position. Make sure that they have the advantages, 100% advantages in life. Because we don't have control over the evil that happens to them. They could become they could become a predator, or they could be a victim of a predator of any crime. See, this is what you expose them to. But you want to make sure to put them in a position because they didn't ask to be here. And life isn't all roses. And you can't guarantee them a certain distribution of good and bad, of pain and pleasure throughout their life. You can't guarantee them an even distribution of that throughout their life. They might get more suffering. They might get more pleasure. It's a roll of a dice. So that is my reasoning. And if you guys have any reasons, just comment below. And yeah, this was a good question. And how we all make decisions about these different paths that we are presented. This video, you can check out this video on Kids or Child Free channel. And she does a lot of interviews, people who decided to have kids and people who decided to be child free. So check her out. If you like her content, please subscribe. And if you like my content, please subscribe, because I talk about life and I talk about being a person who's living outside the faith, who used to live inside the faith, and different belief systems that we just need to really analyze and really pick our brains and pick other people's brains about our different belief systems and perspectives. So that's my goal, just giving people questions to ponder on. So I'll catch you guys later. Peace.